Before we get started anywhere, leave your Mars sign in the comments below and write down what health issues you have that may be in association with your Mars sign. To my YouTube, it's your girl Honey. I hope you guys are doing really well. I thought I'd make a very quick video talking a little bit about health and astrology and how we need to take care of ourselves based on our planetary positions. What's inspired this video is most of you know that my dad is dealing with major health issues right now, and it's been awful, man. Like look at me, it's just been it's not been great. I've had to learn some self-care methods because I've been dealing with insomnia, struggling to sleep, anxiety, and it's like I just need to just be calm. And as a Capricorn moon, we want to control everything, you know? So I've been using CBD products. Yes, I've been using 2 products and they're both from Provocan. Provocan has so many different types of CBD treatments and oils, moisturizers, balms, you name it, they've got everything. So I've got the moisturizer here and I've also got the balm here. I don't know if you can see. I'll try and zoom in if I can. I've been using these 2 products and they've been so helpful. So here's the balm, and as you can see inside, look, it's so green. Like, it's so green and it's really thick. So when you put your finger in there, you got to dig it out like this, you know? You dig it out and you get quite a thick consistency. I don't know if you can see here, and it's quite thick. This has a very leafy smell. It literally smells like the teas, herbal teas, like a really strong herbal tea like I like to drink. We call it bush tea from where I'm from. But when you rub it in, you can see it's quite oily, right? Can you see? It moisturizes your skin like crazy. The thicker the product, the more quality the product tends to be. And what's amazing is that it's got hemp seed oil, beeswax, cocoa butter, coconut oil, grapeseed oil, cannabis extract. So much in this tiny little tub, and it lasts a long time because it spreads everywhere. So I like to use this one at night time. But I like to put it on my feet, and as we know, the feet is the most absorbent part of our bodies. Like when we have colds and flus and stuff, you know, one of the tricks is to put onions on your feet and wrap your feet up, and you'll be fine the following day because the onions absorb everything through your feet. And then there's also the balm. So the balm is white. You can, and this is what I like to use on my body or around my body. And what I do is you have a bath before bed, and I moisturize, and it smells amazing. The smell is great, and the consistency is, I think it's a water-based product, but it just feels light on your skin. I recommend these 2 products if you are someone who does deal with insomnia, because this has helped me tremendously with getting to sleep calmly, because sleeping is just not something that's easy for me right now. Getting to sleep calmly, you have anxiety, anti-epilepsy, anti-cancer, and anti-inflammatory. For the Virgos out there, this is a non-psychoactive cannabis extract, so you won't get high and crazy, you know. It's okay to look at other methods when it comes to healing yourself, because I don't recommend a lot of people taking, you know, prescribed medication, because there's so many vicious side effects. I've got a discount code for you guys ready as well. It's HONEY, and that is for 15% off direct from their website, provocan.co.uk. There is so much in this tiny little tub. It's beneficial if you need that relaxation and that chill vibe. So make sure you guys go and purchase it. It's provocan.co.uk, and my discount code is honey for 15% off at the checkout. So the reason why I like to rub these products on my feet is because I'm a 12th house person, okay? And for someone who absorbs a lot of other people's energies as well, it's very important that I'm also cleansing myself. And I haven't always got enough time to be able to have spiritual baths and cleanses and, you know, to meditate. So sometimes it's like sleep means everything to me. I'm exhausted. So if I can't get to sleep properly, I kind of need something to help me. I'm not about to take anything crazy. So I'm not really a smoker. Not really. I don't smoke like some people do. I use the creams and I place it on my feet, and as we know, the feet is one of the most absorbent areas of the body. When you think about feet is ruled by Pisces, okay? Pisces, or every single sign is associated with a particular part of your body. And Pisces rules Neptune, co-rules Jupiter, and it's also home to the 12th house. So the 12th house, as we all know it, is an individual sign, and the reason why it represents everyone else is because it absorbs everything from everyone. That's why when you know a Pisces person, they're dealing with so much more than what they're showing you. Pisces people are natural healers. 12th house people are natural healers. Neptunians are natural healers. Now I want to just talk about health in astrology in general, and how we find our own particular health issues, what we should be looking out for. So, for example, transits are majorly important because that tracks where we are right now, and also progressions tracks where we are right now as well. So for me, I'm a 12th house sun, my Mercury's in my 12th house as well, and I've got Uranus transiting, you know, approaching my Mercury slowly but surely in my 12th house. And Uranus will bring a lot of like unusual activity at night time, because this is the house of sleep time, and Uranus comes in and it's like, nah, you ain't going to sleep, bitch. You're going to be up thinking, going to be up doing things at night time. For me, getting to sleep has been a lot more of a problem now. I dream every single day without fail. I'm dreaming, and these dreams can be about anything. When looking for health issues, the 12th house relates a lot to the health that people can't see. So that's where you see mental health. This is the house that relates not being consciously aware of your health issues or others seeing that you have a health issue problem. When you think about mental health, anyone you know can be dealing with it and you'd never know, because you can't always tell. The 8th house more so relates to an issue you are purposely hiding. But the 12th house is also looking directly at the 6th house. The 6th house is the original house of Virgo, and Virgo rules Mercury. The 6th house is our day-to-day routines, our health and our well-being. It relates to our employment, our work ethic, but it's the house of logic and practicality. The complete opposite to the 12th house. The 12th house is our unconsciousness, our fantasy, our escapism. And these two aspect each other. So when I see the 6th house, that's more dealing with a health issue that is more that what people can see. The sign that sits in that house can also indicate the kind of health issue that you may end up dealing with at some point in your life. Now, a lot of you will say, well, I don't have an issue right now. I don't have this going on. Of course you don't. Not right now, you don't know, because you're still young. You have the whole of your life to live out the rest of your birth chart. When you look at that 6th house, look and see what sign is positioned in that house. When we think about Aries, Aries rules the head region, but it's also to do with our nerves as well. And that's why when you have Aries, especially when there's a lot of Aries in someone's chart, a lot of Gemini infused in there as well, a challenging Mercury, you see a lot of anxiety. You can also see a lot of ADHD. First house stellium people, a lot of them deal with ADHD. A lot of them deal with because when you think about the first house relates a lot to like when we first see someone. And if there are several planets in that first house, several personal planets in that first house, that person's energy is intense. Like, you'll sit there just calmly reading a book, and suddenly they're just like, you hear them before you see them. And that can relate a lot to ADHD. So when you first meet them, their energy is very intense. And the first house is the original house of Aries. I remember I'd done a reading for this girl, and it was like a brief reading that I met her when I was abroad. And she was telling me, I was just going through her chart, and she had a Cancer moon in her 12th house. And I said to her, your mum, you're gonna have issues with your mum, blah, blah, blah. And she went back and told her mum that she had cancer. And then she told me the next day. I was like, no, she hasn't got cancer. Why would you say that? And I try to be as cautious as I can telling people about health issues, because there's certain things that I say that you guys might pick and choose and think, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Oh my God, this is gonna happen to me. Like, everyone's very, very different. And you can live like a long life and then suddenly, boom, you've got what I'm telling you you're gonna have. Do you see what I mean? Like, even looking at Cancer in the 6th house can relate a lot to stomach region, the breasts, the organs on the inside around that area. And having that in the 6th house can also contribute to issues surrounding those particular organs. But you know what brings this stuff up? So most of you guys don't even know, yeah, I had a procedure done. It was like a biopsy, but I was awake during the biopsy, and you're not really supposed to be awake. And this was done, God, I think it was last month. And I've got, in my 6th house, I've got Scorpio position there, where Pluto is also in there. And I'm currently in my 6th annual perfections year. So it means the 6th house is my main focus this year. And because Pluto sits in there and Scorpio rules Mars is going to be in detriment for me because I'm a day chart. When Mars was transiting through my 6th house, people, as it was conjunct my Pluto, that was when my biopsy was. I was in the most amount of pain. I cried, I was bawling, and this was on the table. I was on the table and I was crying, I was bawling, and my mum was outside. She couldn't hear me. They had her next door, whatever. She should have been in with me, but it was one of the worst things that I've ever gone through. But even transits, like when Mars was conjunct my Pluto, Mars conjunct Pluto can also contribute to health issues as well. It can contribute to procedures, and procedures being extremely painful, excruciating, or you being in pain in general that day. Mars is a massive indicator to show us about what our health issues are. So that's where whenever I see Mars involved, look at the sign your Mars is positioned in. My Mars is in Aquarius, and so is my mum's as well, actually. And Aquarius relates to the circulation of the body. Those of you who have Mars in Aquarius, I'm pretty sure you probably get very cold feet, very cold hands, because Mars in Aquarius kind of weakens the quality of the blood. And you know, the ankles is the area of the body that Aquarius tends to rule. High blood pressure can come from this, and cankles can also come from Mars being in Aquarius. Now, when you think about Aquarius, Aquarius rules Uranus. And Uranus can be something sudden and very unusual. But Aquarius co-rules Saturn. And Saturn is about restrictions and rules and regulations. So when you really deep the situation of Aquarius, in severe cases, you can get, in severe cases, some people can suffer with mobility issues. So MS can be something that someone can deal with. When you look at the 4th house, and there's a lot of energy in the 4th house, I've seen someone's mum deal with MS and mobility issues when Aquarius sits in that house. And especially if Saturn is positioned in there as well, it can mean that you can be the sole carer for your mum. The 8th house is the house of like death. When the sun sits in that house, the sun can implement that dad can die of a cardiac arrest, or you might have a public death, or people might be aware of your death, or your death makes the newspaper, or something like that. Your death being very well known. Very similar in a sense when the sun is in the 10th house as well, okay? But one thing we do find is when it comes to sun aspects, because the sun is going to be what people see. So when you have planets that are aspecting the sun, it's going to show us, we're going to see a health issue. One of the things that we do see, like sun can relate to what people see. So think about our skin, our outer body. And when Mars is close by, Mars is a red planet. It's passionate, it's aggressive. So when Mars is very close to the sun, sometimes you can see skin conditions. You know, you can see rashes, you can see something very aggressive. And bearing in mind, this hasn't got to appeal to absolutely every single person, okay? And especially if the sun and Mars are in a aggressive sign, a very in a fiery sign. One of the aspects I have seen time and time again, Mars in Virgo. Now Virgo is home to the 6th house. Virgo rules the 6th house, and Virgo relates to our health, our well-being. But Virgo is all about, I need to fix something. So when you have your Mars, which is a conflict planet, when it sits in any particular sign, it does implement that you're going to have health issues. So when Mars is in Virgo, it means you're here to look after your health. You need to stay motivated by looking after your health. Your health should motivate you to live longer. But when Mars is squaring the sun, when Mars in Virgo squares the sun, because the sun is highlighting the expression of Mars, what you find here is diabetes. I remember I spotted this years ago, and I was asking my friends, like, do you think this is diabetes? But I found Mars in Virgo square sun, diabetes. And even if it's not you, it's your family members dealing with diabetes, but you're likely, very likely to experience it. I've seen kidney issues. And when you have the sun, when you got sun squaring Mars, you may not feel like you relate to that right now, and that's okay, because most likely your dad will probably relate to that. Remember, the sun is your dad. So at this point in time, it may not be a problem, but later on it will be a problem. Libra relates to our kidneys. I've seen Mars and Libra square sun, and that person's dad was dealing with kidney issues, and they was like, I don't have the issues, but you may have to. So you got to work on balancing, you know, your kidneys, the water intake you have, the amount of food you're processing, and you've got to learn to balance the good with the bad, all in moderation, because the kidneys absorbs everything. So now when it comes to Scorpio, this is actually a deep one. I've got Scorpio in my 6th house. Pluto is also my 6th house as well. So for me, I've got to make sure that my sexual health is on point. I'm not out here in these streets doing God knows what. But another thing as well, when your Mars sits in Scorpio, my dad has Mars in Scorpio, and he's got prostate cancer, and it's also spread to his bladder. So you see, when it comes, and not everyone's destined to have cancer, but Scorpio represents the genitals, the bladder, the bowel, everything in that area. So you have to be somebody who is looking after that part of your body. You see, what I recommend everyone do is research about your Mars position and where your Mars rules on the body. And then look into types of foods, natural herbs that you can use to heal yourself, but to keep yourself healthy and living for longer. Chiron is also another position that does relate to health issues a lot. In 2011, my mum had a brain hemorrhage. When you got high blood pressure, like, you have to look after like your blood pressure, right? So she had a brain hemorrhage. Luckily, she survived and she's healthy, fit and well now. But at the time, it was like, now looking back at her birth chart and her transits involved, I don't know how she survived. I don't know how. Because I had to do some research on the matter. I went to Twitter and I typed in, you know, has anyone's parents had a brain hemorrhage? Transits were there at the time, blah, blah, blah. And I was chatting to this girl on there, and it was so mad because her dad passed away from a brain hemorrhage. And we spoke about what transits that he had. She wasn't aware of his birth time, but she managed to track what transits that he had going over his personal planets rather than through his houses. And what we found, actually, because my mum actually had the nodes crossing her ascendant, which is why I was like, wow, she actually survived. But she had her Chiron return. Now Chiron, she's got a lot of planets around her Chiron, like a lot of planets are around her Chiron. So a lot of the other planets were also had a major effect in what had happened. But Chiron returns, oppositions and squares, as in transits, are going to have a major effect on your health as well. Chiron is a nasty asteroid, like it's nasty. And I recommend you guys looking at your parents, your grandparents, a friend, or even yourself, looking back on when you had a health issue and actually having a look to see, well, what caused this health issue? Because you will get an answer, I guarantee. What's interesting is the degree that the sign is in will give you a clue as to what you're likely to expect. Remember I said Aries is about the head, Cancer is about the chest, the boobies, the rib cages underneath that part of your body there. Taurus is about the throat, the tonsils, the neck as well. People who have Mars and Taurus, you guys will probably get the little lumps in your neck and stuff at some point in your life. People, that's my video. Thank you so much for watching, and please visit my website should you wish to book a reading. My website is honeytrapastro.com. My social media is astrohoneytv. My Instagram and my Twitter accounts are the same. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one, people. Take care.